May we continue with what we were talking about last Sunday and go on further into it. We were saying, weren't we, that human mind and our way of living is so fragmented, broken up. And because human beings are so, thus we make the world into what it is. A chaotic, cruel, confused, frightened world. And we were also saying that self-awareness, that is to know all about oneself, both the conscious as well as the unconscious, the deep down and the open mind. So that in knowing oneself completely, and it is possible to know oneself completely, then we can approach the world and ourselves as a whole. Our life as it is now lived, of which we know very little about ourselves, and perhaps the psychologists, the therapeutics, and the psychoanalysis tell us what we are. But to find out what we are, we can't listen to them. Because they are like us, equally confused, equally uncertain, equally frightened in various different ways. So one has to rely completely on oneself and not look to another to tell us what to do, including that of the speaker, naturally. Can we know ourselves so completely? The wounds, the fears, the anxieties, the uncertainties, the very complex network of pleasures, death, love, and if there is a continuity after we die. And also, we should be aware, know, and understand what is meditation. All that is our life. Our education, our jobs, our way of thinking, our beliefs, our experiences, deep, strong opinions, and so on. All that is our life, with all its struggles, with all its escapes, miseries, and so on. Can we know ourselves completely? All that. Then perhaps it will be possible to approach all our life as a whole, not as a fragmented human beings. So we are going to talk over together this morning whether it's possible, without any guidance from outside, because they've all led us up the garden path. They've all led us to this present state of the world. The politicians, the economists, the religious people, and the gurus and all the rest of the gang. And it becomes more and more imperative and necessary to find out for ourselves what is right action, irrespective of circumstances, such action which will not bring about further confusion, regrets, sorrow, more misery, and so on. So, can each one, know ourselves so completely? Or must we be guided, be prepared to investigate, explore with the help of others? The others, however erudite, however knowledgeable, experienced, are just like us. Psychologically, they have more skill, greater capacity to express themselves, and so on. But we are each one, as we pointed out the other day, like the rest of the world, with their sorrows, miseries, confusions, insecurity, intolerable fear, and so on. Can one know oneself so completely, so that there is not a spot which is not being explored, understood, gone beyond? That's what we're going to talk about together this morning, which is to know oneself, all the movements of thought, the fears, hidden and open, all the pursuits of pleasure, sexual and otherwise, and find out for ourselves what love is, and understand the full significance of not only personal sorrow, but also the sorrow of mankind. And also, it is possible to understand the final event of our life, which is death. All that is our living. And if we are not clear in ourselves, whatever we do will bring about further confusion. So it behoves us, it seems to us, so absolutely necessary to find out if we can know ourselves. Right? We're going to begin, which is The speaker is not going to investigate, and you just merely listen, accepting or denying, but together. Together, think together, if it is possible, because no two people apparently seem to think together, and without pressure, without any form of compulsion, together go into this matter. That demands, first of all, certain attention. Not concentration, but certain quality of deep interest. A mind that's committed to find out. Therefore, care, freedom to observe, right? That's absolutely, obviously necessary. If one has certain prejudices, experiences to which one clings to, then we cannot possibly think together, investigate together, or find out. So one must be somewhat free, at least for this morning, so that one begins to explore, right? We are going first to explore, as we did the other day, the psychological wounds that one has received from childhood. We went into that the other day. And this morning, we'll first begin with fear, right? The fears that are deeply hidden, of which you are not conscious, know or aware, and those obvious, both psychological and physical fears. Right? We're following each other. Please, we are together, walking together. I'm not walking, the speaker is not walking by himself, talking to himself. Together, we are going along the road which might help us if we are interested, if we are serious, if we want to go to the very end of it, investigate this enormous problem of fear. There is both fear of insecurity, physically, not having jobs, or having jobs, frightened to lose them, the various forms of strikes that are going on in this country, and so on, so on. So most of us are rather nervous, frightened of not being physically completely secure. Obvious. Why? Is it because we are always isolating ourselves as a nation, as a family, as a group? And so this slow process of isolation, the French isolating themselves, Germans, Russians, so on, so on, so on, is gradually bringing about insecurity for all of us, which is obvious. So can we observe this not only outwardly, because by observing what is happening outwardly, knowing what exactly is going on, then from there we can begin to investigate in ourselves. Because otherwise you have no criteria. Otherwise you can deceive oneself. So we must begin from the outer and work towards the inner, right? It's like a tide that's going out and coming in. It's not a fixed tide. It's moving out and in all the time. I hope you're all following all this. And this isolation, which has been the tribal expression of every human being, is bringing about this physical lack of security. Right? If one sees the truth of it, not the verbal explanation or the intellectual acceptance of an idea, but if one actually sees this as a fact, then one doesn't belong to any group, to any nation, to any culture, to any organized religion, because they're also separative. The Catholic, Protestant, the Hindu, so on, so on, so on. Will you do that? As we are discussing, walking together, drop the things which are false, which are not factual, which have no value whatsoever. Though we think they have value. Actually, when you observe, nationality breeds wars and all the rest of it. So can we drop that? So that physically we can bring about a unity of man. You understand, sir? And this unity of man can only come about through religion. Not the phony religions that we have. Sorry, I hope I'm not offending anybody. Either Catholic, the Protestant, the Hindu, the Muslim, the Arab, all those religions are based on thought, put together by thought. And that which thought has created is not sacred. Just thought, just an idea. And you project an idea, symbolize it, then worship it. And in that symbol or in that image or in that ritual, there is absolutely nothing sacred. And if one actually observes this, then one is free from all that. To find out what is true religion, because that may bring us together. So, if we can go into much deeper levels of fear, which is psychological fears, right? Psychological fears in relationship, one with the other, psychological fears with regard to future, fears of the past, there's fears of time, right? You're following this, please. We have got a lot to cover this morning. Please, I'm not a professor, a scholar, delivering a sermon and going back to his rotten life. But this is something that very, very serious, which affects all our lives. So please give your attention and care. So there are fears in relationship, fears of uncertainty, fears of the past and the future, fears of not knowing fears of death, fear of loneliness, right? Look at yourselves, please, not with the speaker and the words. The agonizing sense of solitude. You may be related to others, you may have a great many friends, you may be married, children, but there is this sense of deep isolation, sense of loneliness. That's one of the factors of fear. There is also the fear of not being able to fulfill. I don't know whatever that may mean. And the desire to fulfill brings with it the sense of frustration. And in that there is fear. There is fear of not being able to be absolutely clear about everything. Right? So there are many, many, many forms of fear. You can observe your own particular fear if you are interested, if you are serious. Because a mind that is frightened, knowingly or unknowingly, can try to meditate. Right? And that meditation only leads to further misery, further corruption. Because the mind that's frightened can never see what is truth. Right? So we are going to find out together, if it is possible, to be totally, completely be free of fear in all its depth, right? Now we are undertaking a job which demands a very careful observation. To observe one's own fear. And how you observe that fear is all important. Right? Can we go on? How do you observe the fear? Is it a fear that you have remembered and so recall it and then look at it? Or is it a fear that you have had no time to observe and therefore it's still there? Or the mind is unwilling to look at fear. You followed? I wonder if you're coming with me. So which is it that is actually happening? Unwilling to look? Unwilling to observe one's own fears? Because most of us do not know how to resolve them. Either we escape, run away, or, all the things, analyze, thinking thereby we'll get rid of it. But the fear is still there. So it's important to find out how you look at that fear. Right? How do you observe fear? Right, now you're finished with him, now let's come back. How do you observe fear? This is not a silly question, because either you observe it after it has happened, or you observe it as it is happening. Right? For most of us, the observation takes place after it has happened. Right? Now we are asking whether it is possible to observe fear as it arises. Right? That is, you are threatened by another belief, a belief that you hold very strongly, you are threatened about it. There is fear in that, right? Now, I'm challenging you now. You have certain beliefs, certain experience, certain opinions, judgments, evaluations, and so on. When one is challenging them, there is either resistance, building a wall against it, or you are doubtful whether you're going to be attacked, and so fear arises. Now, can you observe that fear as it arises? Right? Come on, sirs. Right? You follow what I'm saying? Will you do it? Are you doing it? Now, how do you observe that fear? The word, the recognition of the response, which you call fear, because you have had that fear previously, the memory of it is stored up, and when the fear arises, you say, recognize it. Right? So, you are not observing, but recognizing. I wonder if you see this. Huh? So, recognition doesn't free the mind from fear. It only strengthens the fear. Whereas, if you are able to observe as it arises, then there are two factors taking place in it. One, that you are different from that fear, right? And so you can operate on that fear, control it, chase it away, rationalize it, and so on. That is you doing something about that fear, right? That's the way we generally observe. In that, there is a division, the me and the fear. So there is conflict in that division, right? Whereas if you observe that fear is you, you are not different from that fear. I wonder if you get this. This is really, if you once grasp the principle of this, that the observer is the observed, that the person who says, I am observing, then he is separating himself from that which he is observing, whereas the fact is, the observer is that fear. Therefore, there is no division between the observer and the fear. Right? That's a fact. then what takes place? Let's first hold it for a minute. Are you all following all this? As we said, are we observing fear through the process of memory, which is recognition, the naming, right? From that, the tradition says control it. The tradition says run away from it. The tradition says do something about it so that you are not frightened. So the tradition has educated us to say that we, the me, is different from fear. Right? So can you be free of that tradition and observe that fear? That is, observe without the thought that has remembered that reaction which has been called fear in the past. It requires great attention. You understand? It requires skill in observation. That is also part of yoga. You understand? It's not merely doing exercise, which is not yoga at all. But the skill in observation, that is, in observing there is only pure perception, not the interpretation of that perception by thought. You understand all this? Please do it as we are talking about it. That is, then, what is fear? You understand? Now I observed that someone threatening the belief that I hold, the experience that I cling to, the thing, the saying I have achieved, and someone threatens it. And therefore the fear arises. In observing that fear, we have explained it, we have come to the point when you observe without the division, right? Now, the next question is, what is fear? You're following me? What is fear? Fear of the dark, fear of husband, wife, girl, whatever it is. Fear, artificial and actual, and so on. What is fear? Apart from the word is not the thing, right? Please, one must recognize this very deeply. The word is not the thing, right? May I go on? So, what is that which we call fear without the word? Or the word creates the fear? Are you interested in all this? Because if the word creates the fear, the word being this recognition of something that has happened before, which has, a word has been given to something that has happened before, which we've called fear. So the word becomes important, right? Like the Englishman, the Frenchman, the Russian. The word is tremendously important for most of us. But the word is not the thing, right? So what is fear? Apart from the various expressions of fear, the root of it Because then if you can find the root of it, then unconscious and conscious fears can be understood. The root. Moment you have a perception of the root, conscious mind and the unconscious mind have no importance. They're the perception of it. Right? What is the root of fear? Fear of yesterday, of 1,000 yesterdays. Fear of tomorrow. Right? Tomorrow, death, not for you. Or the fear of something that has happened in the past. There is no actual fear now. Please understand this carefully. If suddenly death strikes one, it's finished. It's over. Like a heart attack, and it's finished. But the idea of a heart attack might happen in the future, right? So, is fear, please follow this carefully, is fear, the root of it, time? You understand? Time. Time being a movement of the past modified in the present and going on in the future. This whole movement is that the cause of fear, the root of it. We're asking, is thought, which is time, the root of fear? Thought is movement, right? Any movement is time. So I was asking, is the root of fear time, thought? And if we can understand the whole movement of time, right? The time psychologically as well as physically, the time that takes for you to go from here to back home, physical time, to cover the distance, and the psychological time, which is the tomorrow. Right? So, is tomorrow the root of fear? Right? Which means, can one live? Please, we're talking about daily living, not just theories. Can one live without tomorrow? You're following this? Do it. That is, if you have had pain yesterday, physical pain, to finish with that pain yesterday, not carry it over to today and to tomorrow. Do you understand the question? It is the carrying over, which is the time, that brings fear. I wonder if you can do all this. So, it is totally possible and absolutely possible that fear, psychological fear, can end. If you apply what is being said, the cook can make a marvelous dish But if you're not hungry, if you don't eat it, then it remains merely on the menu and no value. But whereas if you eat it, apply it, go into it, for yourself you will see that fear can absolutely psychologically come to an end. So the mind is free from this terrible burden man has carried. Right? Then the next question is, which is part of our life, which is pleasure. Right? Are you afraid to tackle it? Because for most of us, pleasure is an extraordinarily important thing. Pleasure of possession, pleasure of achievement, pleasure of fame, pleasure of doing something skillfully, and so on. Pleasure. Sexual, sensory, and intellectual. Man who has a great deal of knowledge is delights in that knowledge. But as we pointed out, with that knowledge goes also ignorance. Because knowledge is never complete, but he forgets that part and only remembers the knowledge which he has acquired. And in that there is great pleasure. Right? Sensory, sexual, romantic, sentimental, intellectual, having experiences which are sensory. So this whole combination of various elements bring this extraordinary feeling of pleasure, right? Why shouldn't we have pleasure? Do you understand? Religions throughout the world have said don't. Only have the pleasure to serve God. You understand? All your senses, sexual, all that must be dissipated, put away. This is what the organized religions throughout the world have said. We are not saying that. We are saying investigate it. Why man, human being, demands, pursues this in pleasure. Why? Go on, says. There's the pleasure, physical pleasure, sexual. Seeing a lovely sunset. Seeing the beauty of a mountain. The calm waters of a lovely lake. To observe it. But having observed it, having seen it, and enjoyed it, the mind has a remembrance of that enjoyment and pursues that enjoyment, right? That is the continuation of pleasure. Having seen the sunset, taken delight in it, not end it, but remember it, and the demand of of the previous pleasure to be continued. So thought, right? You're following? Thought interferes with that moment of perception, then remembers it, then wants more of it. You've seen all this. Sex, you know all about it. The remembrance of it, the picture, the excitement, the whole mechanism of thought operating and pursuing that, right? Why does thought do this? You are following my question? Why does thought take over an incident that's over, remember it and pursue it? The pursuit is the pleasure. Right? You're following? Why? Why does thought do this? Is it part of our education, part of our tradition, part of our habit? Every man does this. Better include the woman too, because otherwise. Every human being does this. Why? Go into it. Don't look at me. Why do you pursue pleasure? Is that creates for isolation? You following this? Is that what makes for so-called the individual? My pleasure. And it's private. All pleasure is private. Unless you go to football and all that kind of stuff. Pleasure is private. Is that one of the reasons why human beings secretly pursue this pleasure? Because it gives them importance to themselves. You following all this? And therefore, pleasure may be the cause of this tremendous isolation. As a group, as a family, as a tribe, as a nation. I wonder if you see all this. So when one sees the truth of it, the truth, not the word, not the intellectual concept, then will thought take over and make it a remembrance. You understand? Or just see the sunset, finished. Experiment with this. You will see for yourself, if you do it, that thought, as in the case of fear, is the origin, the beginning of this conflict, both of fear and the pursuit of pleasure, right? Then there is the question, we are dealing with the whole of our life. Then there is the question, why human beings throughout the world suffer. I'm not talking about the physical suffering. That can be dealt with also if the mind is not continually attached, always concerned with itself. You understand? We've had pain, disease, infirmity of some kind or another. Thought then becomes so concerned right? And so it's identified itself with that, and so mind itself becomes crippled, right? So can the mind, thought, see the infirmity, the disease, the pain? Yes, you follow? Try, do it, you will find out. When you're sitting in the dentist chair, the speaker has done for 4 hours, when you sit down on the dentist chair and the drill is going on, observe it. You will see, find out. Or look out of the window and see the beauty of the tree. So that the mind is capable of observing itself with a detachment. You understand? You can't do all this. So we're asking, why do human beings throughout the world suffer, accept suffering, and live with it? There have been 2 wars, terrible. Think of the tears that human beings have shed. And their children, their grandchildren will support war. You understand? So sorrow doesn't teach man apparently. Right? They worship sorrow. Christians do. The Hindus have different explanations for sorrow, for what you have done in the past life and so on. I won't go into all that. So we're asking, what is sorrow? And why man lives with sorrow? You understand? Do I find out, so give your minds to this. As you give your minds to sex, to jobs, to this or that, give your mind and heart to find out whether man can ever be free from sorrow. Is sorrow part of the egotistic attitude towards life? That is, my son is dead, or my wife has run away, or something or other, to which I am greatly attached, and is taken away for various reasons, and I suffer. There is grief, there is tears, there is antagonism, there is bitterness, cynicism. Why? You understand? Is it I am so caught up in my own problems. I'm so self-centered. My son is me, right? Or my daughter is me. I am attached. I hold on. And when that is gone, there is a great sense of emptiness, right? Great sense of loneliness. Great sense of lack of relationship. Right? Is that the reason that one suffers? That is, the son being taken away, death or whatever it is, has revealed to me what I am. my loneliness, my isolation, my really lack of real relationship. I thought I was related, but it's my son. You follow? So, the taking away of the son reveals my condition. Go carefully into this. And I suddenly realize my loneliness, my sense of loss, the deprivation of something to which I am greatly attached. The death of the son has revealed to me, right? But that revelation and an alert, an awareness of the self, of the me, has revealed before the incident. I wonder if you see this, right? You're seeing this? As we said at the beginning of the talk, self-awareness. Self-awareness is to know oneself, one's attachments, one's loneliness, one's sense of isolation, all that, to know the totality of oneself. The incident of the son reveals that, right? That is, reveals after the incident. But if there is self-awareness from the very beginning, taking away the son dying, is what? Is no longer the sorrow which has brought about through attachment. Right, you've understood? My mind is now accepts it. Is no longer caught in self-pity, in the struggle to be free from isolation, taking comfort in a belief or in this or that. Right? So one sees sorrow exists so long as the self is there. I wonder if you see this. So the total abandonment of the self is the ending of sorrow. Are you following all this? Will you abandon yourselves? No, sirs. Therefore we worship sorrow or run away from it. And also we should all go together, investigate this whole question of death. It's not just for the old people like us, but also for everyone in the world, young, old, or middle-aged, or death is one of the most extraordinary things that happens in life, right? What do you think of it? What is your instinctual response to the word and to the fact? What is death? Death is an ending, right? Please follow this carefully. Ending. Ending voluntarily. You can't argue with death. You can't say, please give me another week. You can't discuss, it's there, finished. So, can you voluntarily end your attachment, which is death? I wonder, you understand? Ending is something like death. I wonder. The ending of a particular habit, not struggle, fight, wrangle, ending. If you take smoke, if you smoke, if you take drugs, if you drink, that's what's going to happen when you pop off. So can we voluntarily end? You understand? Your experience. Your opinions, your attitudes, your beliefs, your gods end. We are afraid to end, right? To end anything voluntarily. Because if you say, then, what is there if I end? That is, then, you are looking for a reward. You consider then ending as a punishment. So, the ending being considered as pain, then you naturally demand a reward. If I give up, then what? You don't ask that of death. So, can you end and see in that very ending there is a beginning of something new? You understand? That is, one is ends attachment. Attachment to furniture, people, ideas, beliefs, gods, the whole thing ends. And you end it voluntarily because it's intelligent to end. Right? So, in that ending, a new, this isn't a promise, you understand? A new thing takes place. Try it, sirs. That is, while living, inviting death, which is the ending. You can say ending to one's incredible, complex way of living. So that the mind, because it has ended everything, you understand? Do it and you will discover it for yourself. It is, therefore, it's always new. New in the sense, fresh. You know, when you climb a mountain, you have to leave all your furniture behind, all your problems. Because you can't carry all the furniture that you have collected up the hill. So you let go. And you discover for yourself that there's a quality of mind that being absolutely free is able to perceive that which is eternal. The word eternal is not an idea, you follow? Eternal means out of time. Death is time. I wonder if you see this. So the mind that understands this extraordinary mystery, which is a mystery, because what we are clinging to is this enormous, is this our problems, our furniture, our ideas, all that, we are clinging to that, which is put together by time. And with the ending of that, there's something totally new dimension. Now it's up to you. Right? That's it.